Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me again. So today we'll be talking about proof of fund requirement for 20 countries that you would like to study in. You know, if you are preparing to study abroad, you also need to prepare the necessary funds so that you don't just apply for admission, get admission, and now to pursue the admission becomes a problem. So you need to be sure of the money you need, the necessary living cost, the everything that you need in order to actually pursue your admission. And most embassies that you would go to, they will ask you to get a bank statement to show that you can actually foot the bills when you get to your desired country of study. So I'll be talking about 20 countries and the proof of fund requirements they need. So I'll be focusing mostly on the living expenses, right? Because this proof of fund is a combination of the living expenses and your tuition fee. So let's say you want to study in the US and your tuition fee is $30,000 a year, and the living cost is maybe $15,000 to $20,000 a year. It means that you would have to sum up your tuition fee and the living cost. That is what will make up your proof of fund. So you need to be able to show that you can survive in the US and you can also pay your tuition fee in the US. So today I'll only be focusing on the living cost. It's now left for you to know your tuition fee, then you add it up, and then you now know the final sum or the final proof of funds that you have to bring. So the first country on my list is Ireland. Ireland require you to have at least 10,000 euros for your living expenses. So 10,000 euros plus your tuition fee. Your tuition fee might be maybe 20,000 euros, 15,000 euros, depending. So they just wanted to have a living cost of 10,000 euros plus your tuition fee. So let's say, for instance, your tuition fee is 15,000. So 10,000 plus 15,000, that will be 25,000. So you have to be showing that you have 25,000 euros in your bank statement. So the next country is UK. So UK requires you to have 13,761 pounds if your school is located in London. But if your school is located outside London, then you need to have 10,539 pounds. Remember, this is just the living cost. You still need to add your tuition fee. The reason I am not adding the tuition fee is because every school's tuition fee varies. So the tuition fee of school A will be different from tuition fee of school B. It's there for you to add it up and know the final proof of fund that you require. The third country is Germany. So Germany requires you to have 11,904 euros in your bank account. And Germany is different in the sense that they don't want you to show them a bank statement. They want you to open a block account in Germany, and to open a block account in Germany you need to have 11,904 euros to open this block account. So this would tell them that okay, when you come to Germany you will be able to survive, you can pay your house rent, you can feed, you can transport yourself. A lot of schools in Germany are either free or the tuition fee is very small. So this block account is the first thing they look out for before any other thing. So you need to have 11,904 euros if you want to study in Germany. And remember, you have to create a block account in Germany. So there are a lot of agencies that help people create the block account in Germany. If Germany is your desired country, just know that you have to create a block account, and you can look out for agencies that help people create a block account. Number 4 is Italy. So Italy requires you to have 6,079 euros for your living cost. Of course, tuition fee varies. You need to know your tuition fee, you add it up, and you get the final proof of fund. Number 5 is Finland. Finland requires you to have at least 9,600 euros for your living expenses. So the sixth country on my list is Canada. So Canada requires you to have at least 22,895 Canadian dollars for your living expenses. And schools in Canada are usually expensive. You need to have at least maybe usually 20,000 and above. Especially all these taught programs, you need to have at least 20,000 and above Canadian dollars for your tuition fee. But if you're going for a research program, you might get a research program that it's 10,000 Canadian dollars. Yeah. So imagine your tuition fee is 20,000 and then you need a living expense of 22,895 Canadian dollars. That's getting to 40,000 and above. That's about 42, 45 thereabout. So it's actually expensive for international students to go to Canada to study. Except maybe you get a scholarship, then that will reduce your cost. But if you don't get a scholarship, you should prepare 44,000 and above for both tuition fee and your living cost. The next country on my list is USA. That's number 7 here. So USA requires you to have at least 13,000 USD for your living expenses. Also, schools in USA are expensive. Most public schools charge about $30,000 and above for tuition fee. So each year you should have at least 30,000 USD. Although some schools, you might be lucky you get 20,000, 25,000, but mostly it's usually 30,000 USD and above. So imagine your tuition fee is 30,000 and your living expensive is 20,000, and then there are other things you have to pay for, like health insurance, transportation, and some other things that might make the price to even get up to 55 to 60,000 USD. So it's very expensive to actually study in the US. Yeah. Number 8 is New Zealand. New Zealand requires you to have at least 20,000 New Zealandian dollar for your living expenses. New Zealand is also another expensive country where tuition fee ranges from 25,000 New Zealand dollar to 30,000. So you should have at least in total 50,000 for your proof of fund. Number 9 is Australia. Australia requires you to have at least 29,710 Australian dollars for your living expenses. Now, if you are coming with a spouse, then you need additional 10,000 Australian dollars. If you are coming with a child, you need additional 4,500 Australian dollars. So imagine a family, a family of 3, wife, husband, child. That would be almost 45,000 Australian dollars just for living expenses. You've not even talked about the tuition fee, and tuition fees in Australia are also expensive in the sense that tuition fee ranges from 30,000 Australian dollars and above. Yeah. So if you are going alone, you should keep at least 29,000 Australian dollar plus 30,000 and above your tuition fee. That will be about maybe 50 something to 60,000 Australian dollars. It's also very expensive to study in Australia, except of course you get a scholarship that will help reduce cost. Other than that, it's very expensive to study in Australia. Number 10 is Poland. Poland is a country in Europe, and you need at least 3,000 euros for your living expenses. Poland is quite affordable in terms of schooling because they have a lot of affordable schools. Yeah, I'll be making another video where I'll be talking about affordable schools to study in and the tuition fee that you should prepare for. Yeah. Number 11 is Hungary. Hungary is also another country in Europe. You need at least 5,000 euros for your living expenses. Yeah. Number 12 is Russia. I really love Russia. In fact, I studied in Russia. I spent about 7 years in Russia studying medicine and surgery. So I love Russia. And you need to have at least 3,000 USD, $3,000 as your living expenses to live in Russia for a year. And tuition fee in Russia is also affordable. Yeah. If you had to convert this 3,000 USD to Russian money, to be about maybe 300,000 rubles. Number 13 is China. China is also another affordable country, and you need to have at least 4,500 to 6,000 USD in order to live in China for a year. Of course, this is just the living cost. I didn't talk about the tuition fee. Yeah, so if you have to convert these dollars, if you have to convert these dollars to yen is the Chinese money, it should be around 30,000 to 42,000 yen a year. Number 14 is Austria. Austria is also another country in Europe. Austria behaves almost like Germany, and they speak German too. So in case you know how to speak German language, you can consider going to Austria to study. Yeah, so you need to have at least 11,400 to 12,600 euros for your living expenses in Austria. Mind you, all these things I'm talking about is for a year, so you need to have all this for a year in order to live comfortably while studying in Austria. Yeah. Number 15 is France. France requires you to have at least 9,000 euros for your 1 year living expenses in France. Number 16 is Norway. Norway requires you to have at least 16,600 euros a year for your living expenses in Norway. Number 17 is Belgium. Belgium is also another European country, and they require you to have at least 8,400 to 12,000 euros for your 1 year living expenses in Belgium. Number 18 is Japan. Japan requires you to have at least 6,600 to 10,200 USD in order to live for a whole year in Japan. So this living expenses varies in Japan because depends on the city where you are living in. Some cities are more expensive than the other. So if you are in a smaller city, of course the living expense will be cheaper. But if you are in a higher city or a big city, of course the living expenses will be higher there. So that's why I'm giving a range of 6,600 to 10,200 USD. Number 19 is Denmark. Denmark requires you to have at least 11,200 USD in order to live for a year in Denmark while studying. Number 20 is Netherlands. Netherlands requires you to have at least 12,600 euros for a year for your living expenses. Like I said earlier, this money that I'm explaining or talking about is just for your living expenses for a whole year in that country. You also need to consider your tuition fee when providing a proof of funds. So your proof of funds should be the conglomeration or the addition of your tuition fee and your living expenses. The addition of these things would give you the required sum that you will need for your proof of funds here. So that's just all for now. In case you are trying to study abroad and you don't know how to go about it, you need assistance with researching for schools in your desired country, you need assistance with application, you need assistance with visa application, admission application, you can book our services at www.eduscholar@enabled.com, and we will help you navigate through all this. We've had a lot of students get into the desired country of their choice, the desired school of their choice, and they are comfortably studying abroad right now. So if you really need assistance with all these things, you can book our services and we would help you go abroad to study. Yeah, if this is your first time on this channel, please like this channel, subscribe, send this video to your friends, those you think might need the video. Yeah, thank you and bye.